Imagine a floating fortress, a mobile city the size of several football fields. This is an aircraft carrier, the pinnacle of military might. But these colossal warships endure relentless punishment, saltwater, storms, and the brutal force of constant takeoffs and landings. After 2 decades, these titans aren't just battle-scarred, they need a complete rebirth. This is where the most extreme ship makeover you'll ever see occurs. Dry docks transform into operating rooms as armies of engineers swarm the carrier. The ship is stripped, systems are ripped out, and entire sections are sliced off. Old technology makes way for cutting-edge upgrades. The process is mind-boggling. Years of demolition and reconstruction, all while keeping this floating city operational. It's engineering on a scale that defies common sense. So how do they replace a ship's heart, upgrade its brain, and give it new skin without sinking the whole operation? Ready to witness an engineering miracle? Think of a dry dock as a massive bathtub for the most significant ships on Earth. But draining all that water isn't enough. Getting a carrier ready for its overhaul is an operation. Before the pumps even start, the ship is a hive of activity. Fuel is drained, equipment is removed, and the hull is scrubbed clean. Think of it like prepping a patient for surgery. Everything needs to be sterile and ready for the scalpel. Tugboats gently guide the carrier into position, and then the magic starts. The dry dock floods, slowly submerging until the carrier floats inside. Then, the water is pumped back out, leaving the ship perched precariously on massive blocks. Imagine seeing a skyscraper sitting unsupported. It's a mind-bending sight. With the carrier out of the water, the overhaul begins in earnest. First up, inspecting the hull. Think giant, high-pressure water jets blasting away old paint and marine critters. Any sign of weakness is noted: cracks, gouges, rust. These megaships get beat up, and every flaw needs to be found and fixed. Next, it's time for some shiny new paint. But this isn't your average DIY job. Special anti-corrosion coatings, like layers of armor, go on first to fight the constant assault of seawater. Only then does the final color scheme get applied. It's a massive undertaking, turning a dull, weathered ship into a sleek war machine. But the outside is just the beginning. Below the waterline is where the fundamental transformation gets underway. Look back at those old photos of aircraft carriers. See those giant propellers at the stern? They're a marvel of engineering, each weighing as much as several school buses. Now imagine taking them apart, piece by piece. That's what happens during a carrier's overhaul. Every propeller blade gets inspected, cleaned, and repaired if needed. Cracks are welded, and damaged edges are smoothed. Perfection is the goal because a flawed propeller means wasted energy and unwanted vibration. While they're off, the shafts, bearings, and seals are also checked and replaced. It's an incredible peek inside the muscles that move these enormous ships. Before the propellers go back on, they're balanced to dizzying levels of precision. A slightly off-kilter propeller will shake the carrier, wasting fuel and potentially causing long-term damage. It's not just about new parts. Sometimes an overhaul means giving old ones a second life. Take the ship's massive anchor. This isn't just getting swapped out, it's shifting from one carrier to another, demanding as much care as any high-tech upgrade. First, there's prep work. See those workers cocooning the anchor in protective coatings? That's not just a new paint job, it's armor against the relentless ocean. Base coats, top coats, anti-fouling layers, every brushstroke is a shield against the salt and marine life that would otherwise devour the metal. Special care is taken around the massive chain links. Any weakness can jeopardize the operation. But protecting the anchor isn't just about paint. Look closely. See that specialized equipment around the work area? That's capturing paint overspray, preventing toxic runoff into the harbor. Now comes the heavy lifting. Literally, the anchor isn't something you toss on the back of a truck. Getting it onto the carrier demands a symphony of force and precision. Watch as a massive winch strains to lift its multi-ton burden. The anchor swings free, aligning perfectly with the hawser pipe, the hole in the ship's side meant for the chain. Technicians swarm, guiding the anchor, securing shackles, and locking massive pins. Every motion is calculated, the stakes too high to risk a fumble. However, the work is still ongoing once the anchor is in place. See those chains stretching out from the ship? They need to stay battle-ready too. Sometimes it's brute force. High-pressure water jets blast away the accumulated grit of countless sea miles. Other times, it's a chemical treatment that dissolves the barnacles and growth clinging to the links. Every part of this ship has to fight the elements. Finally, the chain disappears into the hull, the anchor drops, and the ocean claims it again. The carrier has a vital piece of itself ready for its next mission. The flight deck gets all the glory, but the magic happens below. See those mazes of pipes, wires, and cables disappearing into the ship's dark belly? Team technicians are crawling through them, ripping obsolete electronics like outdated organs. The ship's nervous system is getting a significant upgrade. New radars with broader reach, sharper sensors, and a communication network that could rival Silicon Valley. The carrier's senses are going superhuman. Forget blinking lights and old-school radio chatter. This is an entire neural network getting replaced, one wire at a time. But they're not just fixing the brains, they're working on the bones too. The carrier's seemingly solid hull is riddled with stress fractures and corrosion spots. Now let's talk about the heart of this metal beast, the propulsion plant. Tucked deep below decks are two nuclear reactors. They are miniature power stations with security and complexity that make them seem otherworldly. During the overhaul, those reactors don't sleep. The ship needs power. So while the patient is on the operating table, specialized crews descend, replacing fuel rods and tinkering with the atomic machinery. And let's not forget the people keeping this monstrous body alive, the crew. Thousands of sailors live in a maze of scaffolding, their routines turned upside down. While the engineers perform surgery on the ship, another crew works hard. Living quarters become construction zones, then turn into modern berths. Dining halls get gutted and rebuilt. The carrier might be a weapon, but it's a home too, and the overhaul is just as much about keeping the crew battle-ready as it is for the ship itself. While the overhaul rages inside the carrier, the shore is just as chaotic. This isn't just a pit stop, it's a full-on manufacturing operation. Standard parts arrive in crates, ready to be swapped in. But look over there. That massive new rudder, weighing as much as a tank, had to be forged from scratch. The overhaul isn't just about replacing parts, it's about radical upgrades. See those sponsons bulging out from the ship's side? Imagine those getting surgically removed, cranes slicing through steel, a whole chunk of the boat lifted away like it's nothing. But the hole doesn't stay empty for long. A brand new sponson, packed with upgraded gear, slides seamlessly into place. It's architectural surgery on a mind-boggling scale. This rebuilding takes an unseen army. Shipyards hum with activity. Welders flash their torches, assembling new hull sections piece by piece. Engineers pore over blueprints, making changes on the fly to match the reality of the aging ship. The supply chain stretches nationwide, pushing to deliver parts that didn't even exist a few years ago. Now, the moment of truth, the flooding of the dry dock. The massive hull blocks are pulled away, and the ship rises, subtly changed. It's no longer the same beast that limped in. The fresh paint hides a radical transformation, decades of technological advancement packed inside that steel shell. And that's how an aircraft carrier weathers the storms. This overhaul might be finished, but the journey continues. 2 decades at sea takes a toll, and these incredible warships will be back for another round of upgrades before you know it. The work never really stops. If this engineering epic blows you away, smash that like button, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you won't miss our next video.